Okay, at this point, I feel like it's safe to say this might honestly be the most universal jacket ever made. I mean, think about it. A jacket that somehow works for construction workers, rappers, fashion kids, skaters, vintage collectors, and just everyday people like me and you. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Carhartt Detroit jacket, why it accidentally became the everyday uniform, and why it might be the only jacket you ever need. Now, I like to start these videos with a little bit of a backstory and some personal reflection to give it a bit of context. So, when I look at my closet today, the first thing that jumps out at me is just how many workwear style jackets I actually own, even leather versions of the same silhouette. And every time I ask myself, like, how did I even get here? How did this particular style become my go-to over the years? To answer that, we've really got to go back to the first real jacket I ever bought. The black Carhartt Detroit jacket. I picked it around maybe 2-3 years ago. I liked its simplicity, its unique silhouette, especially the boxy fit, man. I mean, bro, the way that jacket just sits above the waist, like it's just perfect, bro. Like the way it's cropped, it just makes every outfit look clean, bro. Like it instantly became the main character in every outfit I put on. And naturally, I just started picking up more jackets that were just built around that same style and shape. But eventually I got curious. Where did this style even come from? Did Carhartt even invent it, or did they take inspiration from elsewhere? Now naturally I asked this question to myself because something else that I kind of hold to my holy grail is like the Mason Margiela replica sneakers. And when I was looking into the history of those, it turned out that Mason Margiela didn't even come up with the design for that. And it was in fact Adidas, when they were making clothes for guys in the military. So that's what kind of led me to questioning where this style of jacket, the Carhartt Detroit, started. Like who designed it, who came up with it, like where did it come from? That's just how invested I was, because I was buying a lot of these jackets. And as I was doing that research, this is where things started to get really interesting. But before we even get into all that boring history lesson, like I know most of you didn't click on this video to watch a history lesson, like let's just talk about why this jacket actually works and why it's just a good fit. First, let's look at the silhouette. It's structured but not stiff. The shoulders hold shape, the body is compact, and nothing feels baggy or sloppy. Then we have to give massive acknowledgement to the crop, because this is what's doing most of the heavy lifting. That slightly shorter waist length cut creates this really clean proportion between the jacket and the pants. It doesn't drown your body, it just frames it in like a very nice way. And finally, we have to talk about the vibe, man. It feels very rugged, it feels tough, but it still feels stylish. And the thing that most people don't realize is that this design didn't come from a random place. It actually came from a place of functionality, and like what that functionality was all about is really surprising, and it's gonna shock most people because I feel like the general masses don't really know, but a lot of people wear this jacket in their daily lives without even really acknowledging or understanding where this design even came from. Okay, now let's actually get into the history lesson. Carhartt was founded in 1889, originally making tough clothing for railroad workers and people doing physically demanding jobs. For decades, the brand stayed loyal to that identity, which was primarily making blue-collar, durable clothing made to survive anything. But then something unexpected happened. In the late 1980s and 90s, Carhartt crossed over into a completely different world. I'm talking hip-hop, streetwear, skatewear, and city culture. Rappers started wearing it, kids in New York, LA, and other big cities adopted it. Suddenly, this was no longer just a working man's brand. It was style, it was attitude, it was culture. But here's what most people don't know. Carhartt didn't actually invent the Detroit style jacket. This silhouette pulls heavy inspiration from the mid-20th century military utility jackets, particularly the M44 Ike jacket, I don't know if I even pronounced that correctly, which was designed during World War II, and it was all about functionality given how sharp the waist length is and how it eases movement and reach around the waist, which is essential for work. And when Carhartt introduced their version of this jacket, like the reinterpreted version, in 1954, it wasn't even called the Carhartt Detroit jacket. Back then, it was just referred to as the zipper jacket. the name Detroit wouldn't appear until 1998 as a nod to the city and the brand's industrial roots. And today, that history has created something very interesting. So there are basically two types of people who wear Carhartt. The first bunch, who are generally considered to be the original crew, are manual workers, are tradespeople, hunters, hikers, people who actually need the durability. For them, this jacket is a tool, it's protection, it's something they actually trust. And then there's the second group, coming millennials and Gen Z. We've got fashion MFs, fashion niggas, man, streetwear lovers, skaters, Gen Z and millennials who actually value the cultural weight behind it. For them, this jacket isn't a tool, it's more of an identity piece, because in a world where authenticity is not within reach anymore, like people crave that, and both communities somehow manage to coexist within this same jacket, which is rare. But if you're watching this, then you must fall on one of the two sides. So which side are you on? This split audience is actually what, later down the line led to Carhartt creating Carhartt Work in Progress, which is like a different branch of Carhartt that specifically works on the fashion side of Carhartt. But most people don't really know this. You'd have to be deeply into fashion to actually know this, or just be someone who actually cares enough to do a little bit of research onto like what they're putting on their backs. But basically, Work in Progress, which is Carhartt WIP abbreviated, re-engineers the original workwear pieces using softer fabrics, curated fits, and more fashion-forward finishes. Now, this basically gives you the look without waiting for years, for the wear and tear that you'd have to kind of wait, to get on like an original Carhartt piece. Coming back to the fact like original Carhartt pieces actually made for people who are doing heavy jobs. And those pieces end up looking very fashionable because of like the wear and tear that they accumulate over the years. But now, come in the fashion MS, like these are people who just want that aesthetic. They want that look of like wear and tear of like a garment that's been, through the rough use and like rough conditions that led it to having that aesthetic look without actually putting in the years of work, so like that's almost entirely the sole purpose of Carhartt WIP. And ironically, Carhartt launching this brand of its own company ultimately led to like the original pieces, the pieces that have been worn for years and have gone through the wear and tear, to actually rise in value. Because even with all the modern updates, people still chase authenticity. They want jackets that are faded from real use. They want the paint stains, they want the frayed edges, they want that piece of history. That's why older Carhartt Detroit jackets have skyrocketed in value, especially the worn ones, the ones that have actually been through the wear and tear. And it's created like this sub-genre of people within the fashion community who overanalyze anything. They look at the particular designs and like the tags on the jackets to look for the dates that they were manufactured, just chasing that authenticity. They're not like your average consumer who just wants the look of the jacket. These guys actually care about like when this jacket came out and when it was designed. If you can get your hands on a jacket that was released like anywhere between the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s, then obviously amongst that group you're considered to be someone who's in the know, like you're cool basically. Now, these jackets aren't just jackets anymore, they're now like fashion relics. But having taken all of that into consideration, you have to ask yourself, like, why is this jacket so universal? Like, what is it about this jacket that just works so well, that kind of makes it the universal jacket for every man and women? Well, it all comes down to the fact that it's simple, it works in real life, it works in fashion, it works across generations, it works across cultures, it's tough without trying too hard, stylish without being too loud, meaningful without needing the hype. And that combination, my friends, is rare. So whether you're working, you're skating, or you're just building a timeless closet that you're gonna keep for years and probably pass down to your grandkids, because hey, who knows, maybe in their time like Carhartt will still be a thing, and like having a piece from 2026, we're in 2026 now, guys, is gonna be a valuable thing. The Detroit jacket somehow fits everywhere. For me, it accidentally became my everyday uniform, and honestly, man, I don't think I'm stopping anytime soon. Now, question is, do you own one? Yes, do you own one? Because if you don't, you probably should. Let me know in the comments, man. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, please subscribe to my channel. If you don't subscribe to my channel, bro, you're probably never gonna see my channel again. So just subscribe, bro. Come on, bro. Like, it doesn't even hurt, bro. Just click that button, bro. Come on, just click it, bro. Thank you.